Hi, welcome back. Talking it out over tea this morning on A Cup of Joe. And yes, I must give credit to the creators and the concept, The Lost Tribe, because it plays on your mind in a way that you really are intrigued, because it has been lost, so to speak, for some time. And Valmiki, who we are pleased to have with us this morning, apparently thinks that he has found a niche for this lost tribe in 2016. Have you found that niche, Val? What is the response that you've gotten? The band has been launched. People have seen the costume. You guys recently, a couple of weeks ago, launched the actual band room.
Yes.
So what has been the response? Have people been flooding the band room? I mean, what has been the response?
Well, definitely, I would say we've been blessed.
Yeah.
We've been blessed. It's been a good year. When we first started a couple of months ago, as I said, we waited until maybe, I wouldn't lie to you, maybe a week and a half before the band launch to say, okay, this thing is really going to happen.
Right.
And then when we saw that it was coming to fruition, we said, okay, we are going to launch it in the media launch and not on the big stage, because really and truly it was a week and a half before we decided. So how are we going to do this thing? And at that point, I think, even though, I mean, obviously it's a project that we all have so much faith in and, you know, belief in, and it really is our baby, the newest member of the family of tribe bands. I don't think any of us could have really anticipated the response that we received. It was warm, it was inviting, it allowed us to see, as we were discussing just before, that the market was not the market was not one side of an age demographic. It wasn't to one set of people alone, but it really did mirror almost a tribe and bliss demographic in terms of there were people that came from different income brackets, different age groups, but basically people with a with like-mindedness, basically. From that point afterwards, we launched, we said, okay, this thing heading somewhere, we need to build our band house, we need to do this. So literally after the band launch, we said, okay, time for the Gypsum and Wood to take place, and that's when it rolled into something else.
That's very interesting. So in other words,
yes,
just before, when they went on in the media launch of Tribe,
yes,
and at the band launch of Tribe,
yes,
when you all gave a sneak peek of what is coming,
yes,
at that point, you weren't sure if the Lost Tribe really would be found out there.
Not necessarily at all, but it wasn't, at that point in time, it wasn't going to be a new band.
Right.
It was going to be an annex to Tribe.
Right.
It was supposed to be a presentation that was going to happen at the front of the banner.
And that's because you wanted to just tease it out there to see whether or not the response would have been justified?
Because a combination of that and no, it was that because we thought that is what we wanted to do with it.
Okay.
And then when we realized at that point in time, like, hey, this thing moving nice.
So you have gotten a good response.
A very, very good response.
A very good response.
Yes.
How many sections are there?
There are 7 sections.
7 sections.
1 male, 1 female for each. We've been saying we've been jokingly calling it a band of frontlines.
Right.
Because there is no options. It's a band that every costume would have large headpieces, capes
and flowing, yeah.
Confusion.
You could only have 5 people in a band.
They were, sorry?
5 people in a section, sorry.
I hope not.
Yeah, because if one costume that big, then only 5 people could play the section, the road car fits.
So we'll measure differently.
So you've gotten the response where now you think, is the band sold out? Because I know
band is not sold out just yet.
Because Tribe and Bliss is sold out the day after. Yeah?
In a moment, sir.
Yeah,
in a moment.
So the band has been sold out yet.
The band is not sold out yet, but we are about at the half point right now, having been opened for registration for a week.
Right.
So things moving well.
Things moving in the right direction.
Well, yes, sir.
Well, as the designer, as the person that would have come up with the concept of the Lost Tribe, for people now looking on, now probably getting a feel of what is to come. Going on Trini, so
Yeah.
The essence of the concept of the band, how different from what people have grown accustomed to in Tribe and Bliss and all the other beads and feathers that people would have seen over the last decade or so. How different is the Lost Tribe?
Well, it's ironic because when I started in Mass, and don't get me wrong, I revel in bikini and bead Mass. I mean, that's really where I started designing.
Because you're in your late 20s.
It's when I started designing.
So if we speak to someone in their late 40s or early 50s, they may have a different view of what Mass should represent.
What it should represent. But what I realize is that, I mean, again, from investigation, from experiencing as well, even in my short time in the industry, is that Carnival has evolved. it has moved from one thing into something else. In some ways, some say for the better. In some ways, some say for the worse. In my opinion, I feel the Carnival has developed the all-inclusive experience, the tribe band, the bikini and bead mask, has allowed our product as brand Carnival and brand Trinidad and Tobago to place us on a level that is comparable to other tourism products in the world. Where our service of, if you're spending $15,000 on your Carnival experience, I'm just saying, you could compare it to a cruise, or you can compare it to something else and be like, I prefer to do this or that. It isn't that, oh, they are giving me more value for money. And at the end of the day, we are selling ourselves. I think, however, it would be naive to say that certain things were not martyred in the achieving of that status, that legit tourism product status. And I think that's what we were looking at. And Tribe, as you said, there have been the rumblings for years, and for years Dean has been speaking about it, Monique has been speaking about it, and I believe in windows of opportunity, and I think the time just became right now for us to be allowed to do that, and allowed by the universe and the masses, for them to be willing to respond to this. Yeah.
5 years from now, where do you see the Lost Tribe?
Right now, I'm trying to think about 5 months from now.
I know that. Well, yeah. But because I'm suspecting that has been the mantra thus far. You're literally taking it as it comes, looking at the response, seeing where it goes. But I mean, Val, I'm sure you are the executive director, creative director behind this thing. You are the mind behind it. I'm sure you would want to look down and see 5 years down the road that the band is growing and developing in a particular way. The style of the costumes are doing different things. And tell me, what's the vision for the Lost Tribe, or is there none of this thing?
No, there's vision in as much as creative people, whatever creative people may mean.
Yes.
When we sit and we draw and we sit and we think, or sometimes just going for a drink, I'm just saying, ideas come to mind. And I hope to, and as far as I see, we will see the band grow from strength to strength. I see definite downstream effects in the industry. I have seen Tribe and other bands influence other movements in the industry, I think that I would see that downstream effect even within our own family of bands. I expect to see costumes changing, costume shapes changing, the band itself being influenced by greater artistry in the world that probably may not have found its way into Trinidad Carnival before. And I ultimately hope to take this band and make it even a bigger international product. Not even in terms of Carnival alone, but in terms of art, because I think that's something we're offering.
Right. Just before we wrap, I want just to touch on that, because since the movement of Tribe and the experience of Tribe with the all-inclusive road experience, there's no going back, I think. I mean, that has set the pace and has changed the way we play mass here in TNT.
Which is why this band is a perfect hybrid. It's what we've been selling it as.
So I'm asking, do you think that it will also have the Lost Tribe and what you are presenting in 2016? This movement of bringing a different type of mass, a different creative style of mass, will also have a ripple effect? Will we see other bands looking to do a hidden tribe? Or a secretive tribe? Somebody in other words, will we see that type of mass now emerging across the spectrum of Trinidad and Tobago?
Well, I mean, I'll be flattered. But apart from that, I think that even if you do not see an exact replication, just by what we were discussing before in terms of crowd response to it, there are people who I know and people within my own sections and our own band that have looked across there and be like, oh my God, we love this, we love that, we love that. Different aspects and different design concepts that were used in the development of the costumes. And I think you will see not necessarily a borrowing of concept, but you will see a melding and downstream effects or whatever happening in design through there. So I think definitely you would see that happening.
Yeah, run out of time, but do you think people will say, oh, I love this, I love that. Yeah, but I like that, but I love.
Yeah.
But I ain't playing in that.
If you asked me that same question a month ago, I probably wouldn't have been able to answer. But after having experienced the crowd, experienced the response, and now experiencing registration, the Lost Tribe is definitely found.
The Lost Tribe is found.
I'll
leave it at that, Val. The Lost Tribe is found. Valmiki Maharaj, the executive creative director behind the Lost Tribe, a part of the Tribe and Bliss family, Dean Akin, and the changing the changing lanes and moving in a different direction, new wave type of mass here in TNT. Looking forward to it in 2016 and how it will shape Carnival as we move forward here in this sweet country we call Trinidad and Tobago. We're taking a short break. We're coming back. Much more to come on the show.